continuing on the Gospel of Luke, and we come now to Luke chapter 2, beginning in verse 22, and we'll pick up the reading there. Και ότε επλέστησαν οι ημέρετοι του καθαρισμού αυτών κατά του νόμον Μωυσέως, ανέγαγον αυτόν εις Ιερουσαλήμα παρεστήσει το Κύριο, καθώς γεγράπτε εν νόμο Κυρίου, ότι παν άρσεν διανοίγον μέτρον άγιον το Kyriou κλητέσετε, και του δούνε θυσίαν κατά το ηρεμένον εν το νόμο Kyriou, ζεύγος τριγώνων ίδιο νόσος περιστερών. Let's just pick up that piece there and kind of go with that. And we're coming to this section here where this is the prophecy in the temple. You have the presentation of baby Jesus, and purification of Mary in verses 22 through 24. And in Jewish custom, a woman was considered unclean for 7 days after the birth of the son. And so contextually, that is what we're dealing with. That's where we're at. And he says, and when the days of the purification, katharismos, from katharismos, to purify, when the days of the purification were full, or were completed, this is typically a Hebraic type expression, but you have katatan naman Mouseos, on Afton. This is from on ego, so you get the this is an aorist active. So they brought him up unto Jerusalem. There's, by the way, there are several different spellings of Jerusalem, and there's really no distinction, but there's just different spellings of it. So here's another one, and we're going to get a different one spelling later. Anyway, they brought him up into Jerusalem, peristese, to Kyriou, in order to present him to the Lord. Kathos iegrapte in nomo Kyriou hatipan arsen, dianoigon, metron hagion to Kyriou klethesete. So here's a quotation, and this quotation comes from Exodus, and it just says, as it is written in the law of the Lord, or we could translate Yahweh, as it is written in the law, and then you have dianoigon, which is a neuter participle, and this just means male. So every male opening, metron is another word for the womb, so... And then you have klethesetai, is to be called holy to the Lord. Let's see. And so anyway, so they bring him up, and all of this is resting on this verb. They brought him up. And Ketu dune thusion katato eremenon into namu Kyriou. And here, zugos is a yoke, and a trugon here is a turtle dove. And then it says, or to nasus, which is like a dove, or peristeron is the word for pigeon or dove, and then nasus, it just really comes from neos, which means young, so young pigeons. Putting that together in verse 24, we would say, and they offered a sacrifice according to what is, according to the law, according to the thing having been said, literally in the law of the Lord. which is what? A pair of turtle doves or two young pigeons. Verse 25. Και ιδού άνθρωπος in Jerusalem ho όνομα Σεμεών και ο άνθρωπος ούτως δικαίος και ευλαβές προσδεκομένος παρακλήσιν του Israel και πνεύμα εν Hagion αυτόν. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem. And is that a different spelling from what we had above? We talked about that. It is. Anyway, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon, and this man was Dikaios, and he was Evlabes. He was righteous. And Evlabes is an interesting word. It's used by Luke here, and I think Luke might be the only author that uses it, but it means pious. It's, and and so it's careful, cautious is another way that it's sometimes rendered. But we could say he was righteous, he was devout, is the sum of what is meant here. So anyway, the man was righteous and devout. Prosdekomenos, he was waiting for the parakalesin, the comfort or the encouragement, the consolation, maybe consolation would be best, of Israel, and the Spirit, and the Holy Spirit. The Spirit was upon him, and the Holy Spirit, we could say, rested upon him. This is interesting because you have a hyperbaton here. So you have the noun and the adjective, and it's been separated, and it's stylistic. And so Greek does this, and Luke is doing this because it's nothing particularly insightful or theological here, but just notice that there's a hyperbaton here. But anyway, the Holy Spirit rested upon him. Ke ein αυτό και κρεματισμένον houpa του πνεύματος του Αγίου μεν ιδέν θάνατον τρίν ein an ιδέton Christon Kyriou. We get this interesting word here, which comes from krematizo, is a perfect passive participle. And krematizo, in the active, it means to do business. It's like business activity. But that's not the meaning here. It can also be glossed, which is probably here connected with a verb like kraomai, which means to, I think of the Septuagint, it means like to consult an oracle. But in this case, it means like to reveal or to impart a revelation. And so, and then you have this periphrastic usage here, and so we could say, and it had been revealed to him, and then you have hupa plus the genitive, which expresses agency. So it revealed to him by the Holy Spirit, and then you have this negation, me idein thanaton prin, for him not to see death. Prin just means before he might see Ide, the Messiah of the Lord, or Christ the Lord. You see prin a together in classical Greek. It's actually something that shows up with Ionic Greek in particular, and in some portions of Greek, like in classical Greek, like Attic Greek, you won't see the a here; you'll see the prin. But this is very Ionic in its form. So anyway, it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he might see the Christ of the Lord, or the Messiah of Yahweh. Ke elfen into pneumati is to heron. And he went by the Spirit into the temple, ke into eis agagen tus gones to paidon Iesun to poiese avtus kata to ethismenon to nomo pediaptu. And here you have in plus you have where is it? In plus the articular infinitive. And so what we have is you got to pick it up. Let's see. You want to pick it up here with gones, and what we're going to have is the parents. So what we'd say is while the parents were bringing in the boy, and you've got to plus the infinitive. So in poiese, in order that they might perform or act or to do, katata ethismenons, having done that which was customary, we would say, of the law concerning him. And this here is a perfect passive participle, and it comes from ethos. But the point is, according to that which was laid down by custom, the custom of the law regarding him. So, putting that all together, we would just say, and he came, verse 27, and he came by the Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought the child Jesus, according to the thing having been customary uh, concerning for them to do. Maybe smooth that out. Um, Obviously, Simeon is understood here. Simeon came into the temple, and the parents brought in the child Jesus to do for him what was, we could say, customary under the law. Might be a smoother way to translate that. Let's go down a little further. Ke avtos edexito avto istas akalas ke evloges on ke ipen. And he also received him, or received it, and he also received it uh, in we could say him. And he also received him in his arms and blessed God and said. So he took or received, and this is neuter. The essentially referring to the boy, received the boy into his arms, and he blessed God and he said. And now we get this direct discourse of what was said. Nin apolies ton dulon su despota, kata torrema su in erene. A lot of times this is translated like let your servant depart in peace according to your word in peace. But apalues means to release. So you're letting go, you're releasing, and you are now releasing your servant, master, according to your word, and you're releasing him in erene, in peace. Hoti idon hi aphthalmimi mu to soterion su. Because this is causal, my eyes saw your salvation. Ho hetoimasas kata prosepon ponton ton laon, which you had prepared at toimazo, to prepare according to the face of all the people. Phos eis apocalypsin ethnon, um, literally a light. And so this is in apposition to everything here. So a light for the revelation, and you get this genitive, probably in an objective genitive here, for a revelation for the Gentiles. Okay, doxon lau su Israel, and the glory of your people Israel. Que ein ho pater aptu que he meter thalmadzontes epi tis la lumenos peri aptu, and his father and his mother, they were thalmazontes, they were amazed. And then you have so this is interesting because you've got the plural thalmadzontes, and then you have two singular subjects, and then you got the plural participle. Um, and this is connected with Ain. So his his father was, and his mother, they were amazed. This is kind of clunky grammar here, but typically in this construction, you would get one subject on the left side, which is singular, singular verb, singular participle, and then the second subject doesn't. Here we're getting a change of from singular to plural, a singular verb here with a plural participle. So this is a bit odd here. But anyway, his father and his mother were amazed. Um, Epitis la luminis peri aptu, with the things being said about him or concerning him. Que evlogesen aptus Simeon, que epen pros Mariam, and he blessed them. That is, Simeon blessed them, and he said to Mary, Metera aptu, his mother, idu ap hutos, ki te es patosen ke anatasen, polon into Israel ke is Simeon anti legomenon. And so he's just saying, and behold, he he lies down. He lies down as a patosen, as a patosis, which just means a falling. So we'd say something like, anastasis means rising, and so you know, idiomatically, essentially, this one will cause the falling and the rising of pollen of many in Israel. Um, Anastasis can also mean resurrection, but here I think it's just generically just rising because you have ptosis and then you have anastasis, so you have falling and rising. Um, and then we have another interesting expression because he has a sign which is anti-lego, which is to speak against. And so he will do this as a sign that is spoken against, or he will, when he does this, he will cause division. And then you have this dash here, the editors put here to show that the grammar has broken off here. And so we pick it up with, there's another dash here. So, que su de alptes ten psukein dialepsete romphia. Um, Romphia is a sword. It can mean like a lance. It is loosely associated with um, the word that uh, that like almost like the sound of a rushing wind, something that makes a whistling or buzzing noise. Um, and that word is rambo, and this word is somewhat created, and but it's a word that was coined, um, essentially to to describe something that like a sword, a lance, or something. The point of, I mean, this word is common in the Septuagint. Um, I think it's Rimbo or Rimbamai, which is the opponent. Um, and it's, but again, it just comes to mean sword here. And what he's saying is that this sword will end up producing a piercing. There'll be a piercing through. So a sword will pierce the soul, or will pass through. Uh, in this case, your own soul will pierce through your own soul. So I mean, um, and 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 there are two things. The editor thinks that this comes the editor of the text thinks that this comes between two other thoughts, and so therefore it makes this kind of a difficult reading. And so, yeah, I would have you look at the commentaries there and just try to piece that together to understand what exactly is being said. But in terms of just strictly translating, um, again, verse 35, and of you also yourself, a sword will pierce through your soul. So, and of you also, a sword will pierce through um, your own soul, so that hapos on apokalypthosin, so that it may be revealed subjunctive from many uh, hearts, so that the thoughts, the dialogismi, so that the thoughts may be revealed um, from many hearts. Really, so that the thoughts of many hearts might be revealed, which is really meant to be taken, as I was saying, to the verse previous to this dash, those things going together. Um, and that might help to make more sense of the text as you're reading it. Que ein ana prophetis thugater Phanuel ek piles acer avte pro bebekia in hemeres poles ze sasa meta andres eta hepta apo des parati parthenias avtes. And there was Anna, a prophetess, a daughter of Phanuel, from the tribe of Aser, Asher. Havte, this woman, um, pro probe probebekia, comes from probino, which just means to be advanced in age. And this woman was advanced um, and then he actually says so in hemerais poles, in many days. She was old. Um, Zesasa, having lived with um, Andros, understood her, having lived with her husband, ete hepta apotes parthenias avtes, having lived with her husband hepta ete, 7 years from the parthenias, the virginity of her, from her virginity. Verse 37, que avte hera heos eton agdoekonta tesaron euk aphistata tu heru nesteais que desesen le trebusa nicta que hemeron. And she was a widow until Heton Agdoekonta, which is 80, So 80, and then Tessaron, 84. So she was a widow for 84 years. Hey, who, and then you have the negation. Aphistata means to depart, who was not departing the Heru, who was not departing the temple. And then two datives here with nesteais, which is just fasting, and deeseisen, which is praying. She was not departing from the temple with fasting and prayers. Instead, what was she doing? She was la trevusa. She was serving nikta ke hemeron night and day. Ke avte tehora epistasa anthomologito to teu ke elale periaptu pacentis pros decominis litrosen Jerusalem. And tehora is the hour, and avte tehora is that very same hour. Epistasa, standing nearby. What was she doing? She was anathomologita. She was praising God. And so this comes from anathomologeomai. You see really a crassus here of several words coming together. You have anti, you have homos, and lego. So, which just comes to mean to confess openly, to openly praise, to give thanks. And so we would say in verse 38, if we want to kind of smooth all that out, in that very same hour, standing nearby, she was praising God, and she was elale, she was speaking about him to all the ones, pasentis, to all the ones, prosdecominis, to prosdecomai is to receive, it's to wait for. So she was speaking about him to all the ones who were, we could even say, anticipating. Lutrosin is redemption. So who were anticipating the redemption of Jerusalem, of Jerusalem. And I think that's a logical stopping place. So we'll stop there at verse 38, and then we'll pick it up again in 39 and finish the chapter in the next video.